It took me 10 minutes to create this artwork in a Blender, and if you think that create digital art is something too complicated, let me show you how you can quickly create a concept using only Blender and a few secret ingredients. I've just started with a new plan, scale it and apply scale. Definitely I need a camera, and I already have one camera in my default Blender setup. I prefer to make the right camera position to see what is happening in my camera view from the beginning. In this artwork I would prefer to use a 24mm focal length for this camera. Here is the base setup I have created for this artwork. Next, select this plane and go to Edit mode and subdivide a couple of times this plane because I'm going to use a displacement to make some terrain surface. Press New, go to Texture, and here we may select Clouds texture for displacement. Also we need to use a subdivision surface modifier, but move it on the top before displacement. Now it looks nice, and we may change the size of the texture, maybe 20. Alright, change the strength of displacement as well. And here is our terrain. It's absolutely simple and everyone can do this even if you don't have huge experience in digital art. Alright, it's time to add a new cube as a hero object. Scale it and make it really large, and let's rotate it by X and Y axis. Something like this could happen, and rotate it by Z axis to find some interesting position. To place object correctly we may use camera guidelines. I select the camera, and in the settings I can use different guidelines. I would choose center and thirds. Now we can place object accordingly to these guidelines. So maybe some kind of like this one for now. I need some plane to scatter the forest, like in the background here. I think I can add this circle, just scale it and press F in edit mode to fill this circle and make this one as a mesh. Press I to insert new face and delete this face. Also, I don't need all faces behind the camera because I'm going to scatter the forest only for the background of my art. Place it somewhere here. Alright, and we need some 3D models of man that I have in my set browser. Maybe this one would be great. Place him on the ground and move him closer to the cube. I would like to adjust the camera angle and maybe scale this cube to make it bigger. Good, I guess we can move ahead with it. Let's add grass to our scene. I'm going to use my favorite Blender add-on, Botanic. Select the ground plane, and in this add-on I can press plus in the scatter to select some grass presets. Press OK. Maybe change displacement a little bit to make it more natural terrain. Good. We need some forest, which we can also create by using Botanic add-on. Just select this plane and add a new empty scatter, because I can select some tree from the Botanic collection like this one. Okay, but decrease the number of trees to make it natural and use randomized scale to bring more variation to this forest. Also, it would be great to make some changes to the surface with proportional editing. I just move this face to create some interesting shape of the forest, like this. Okay, and do the same here. Alright, let's enable our preview render and look at what we already have. For now we see nothing because we need some light. I can use Blender Kit add-on where we may find a lot of HDRIs. For example, I want to use some cloud sky in this artwork. I already have some of them in my bookmarks, this one. I just choose the resolution 4K and press OK. It automatically downloads and is set as an environment light in the Blender. Oh, I forgot to enable cycles render because we need a high realistic render, and now we can see this HDRI in the preview render. Maybe let's rotate this map. To do this, I open the shader editor here, but change it to world, and now we may adjust this HDRI inside Blender. Of course, we need a fog and add atmosphere to this scene. I add a new cube, but scale it to cover the main object and scale it by Z-axis to make it thinner. It's going to be ground fog. Add new material and we need principal volume. Connect to volume and make density around 0.1. To increase volume effect, go to render settings and increase volume in the light path. So that this cube doesn't distract us, just makes the visibility as bounds in the object settings. I do copy of this volume cube, place it above the first cube and duplicate the material. Let's name them volume fog and volume fog 2. For this volume I can change the density, just not too much to avoid sharp difference between ground volume and top volume cubes. Okay, now I do another copy of this volume cube and cover the background forest. Duplicate volume material once more to make different settings of fog and have control of each one. I also prefer to use high contrast in color management. To do this, I can change color management to high contrast here in the settings. It brings deeper contrast into artwork. Well, what I would like to change now is to work a little with the light. I open world settings in shader editor where we have configured HDRI, and now I want to darken this HDRI a bit. To do this, I can add RGB curves. If I pull down white point, it will allow me to control the brightness of HDRI and create a more dramatic light, So let's create this sci-fi cube from this simple cube, and we do not need to model all these details, because I'm going to use displacement texture. I have these sci-fi textures and I drop everything into Blender. As we may see, it's already on the cube, but we need to go to the settings of this material and in the surface change the displacement settings to displacement and bump. Also, we need to subdivide the geometry to make it softer and get a lot of details from this displacement map. I will add subdivision surface with 4 levels. I guess it will be good enough. I found this sci-fi texture on ArtStation. Check out the link in the description if you want to get these textures. It's free. Also, you may find in the description links on my Patreon, masterclass, Blender assets and add-ons. Check them out. So, the geometry looks really smooth and there are a lot of details visible. To improve it, I need to increase the value of the emission texture. I'm thinking of setting it to either 2 or maybe 5. Additionally, I want to adjust the scale of the mapping. Maybe 2 or 3. I think 2 looks better than 3, so I'll choose that. I might also scale it a bit and rotate it to get a desired result. Finally, I would like to move this guy closer to the cube, perhaps as if he is behind the hill and grass. Alright, so we have this render and now we can move to compositing for some post-production work. We could use Photoshop, but I know how much you like videos about creating artwork only in a Blender. Therefore, let's go ahead and do it in a Blender. In this case, I will start from the end and add a glare effect first. Fog glow. Next, add a lens distortion. It brings some cinematic effect to the art. I'm going to use RGB curves to increase the contrast of this art even more, in addition to the high contrast editing and color management. Next, I will add a color balance to make color gradient. Let's find some interesting color using gamma, lift and gain. I leave it in this way, I like it. You can experiment with color balance. Lift and gain refers to black and white point, more simply to shadow and lights, and gamma is general correction. So you can use color balance to make different color schemes. So, alright, I would like to add a vignette effect. To do this, I need a mask, which I can add if I change view to mask, and I can add a circle mask. Move it on the center, scale it, and make this mask softer by using Alt-S. To use this mask, we need a mask node. Select this mask and let's do this with hue saturation node. Connect this mask to the factor and now I can decrease the value. Just need to invert this mask because I need this effect on the side of the image. Yeah, good. In the end, let's add some local glow from the sky by using mask. I'll add another mask for this circle, scale it and place it here. I do copy all these nodes and select a new mask. Add another hue saturation, use this as a factor and increase value. Oh yeah, we don't need to invert this mask. Yeah, this is correct. So, in this way we created such a simple concept art in just a few minutes. My goal, as well as the goal of my channel, is to show that it doesn't take much to create digital art, just a free Blender and a little imagination. It's not even important what you use, it's more important what you want to show and tell in your art. So, if you are just starting your way, start creating now.